welcome back to the North Florida Wrestling Show. We have another Wrestling Warrior Spotlight, and today our guy's coming out of pace. We have Maeson Otwell on the show today, talking all about that Adidas Nationals Sophomore Division Championship, placing at state, and how he keeps his mind right in attaining his dreams. Let's go ahead and get to the show and welcome on. All right, Maeson Otwell, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for letting me come on here.
No, of course, man. You've been out there grinding. Congrats on the Adidas Nationals Sophomore Division National Championship.
Thank you. It was a real good tournament.
Yeah, how's it feel?
Kind of surreal. I mean, it was a huge achievement to have.
Yeah, it has a nice little ring to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it does.
Well, I mean, I'm not super surprised because, I mean, you had a really impressive season this last year. I remember kind of seeing you a little bit on the scene as a ninth grader, but you seem to really have come in your own this year with, finishing eighth at state, regional runner-up, district champion. What did you do differently this year than you did last year to make such drastic improvements?
I think I focused a lot more on just trying to improve my technique and seeing other people's technique, like seeing Nate Goldman and having him come in and work with me and just adapting how I wrestled to how he wrestled, or just seeing how people progressed in their technique and seeing how I can move it into my own.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, that's what it is, man. Learn from all the best that you
Exactly.
can. What motivates you to keep wrestling and pushing yourself to improve? You seem like you have a little bit higher work ethic than some of the kids that I've seen around.
Like I've had years of going into it. It's been a long time coming, but seeing someone like, especially those like little kids come up to you and ask you like how it is and like asking you a bunch of questions, and just makes you want to do more. And then having that championship name next to your name, or having that eighth place at state, or whatever it may be, is striving to keep doing better.
Yeah, it's always weird when that first little kid like comes up to you and like asks you for
Yep.
something. You're like, oh well, I didn't realize that you were watching
Yeah.
me, but yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, it's a really humbling moment. You know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of moments, can you tell us about a match or a moment in your wrestling career that you're particularly proud of or that stands out?
Yeah. Actually, my second place match at state this year, when I knew that I was certified to place at state, because that was my whole goal this year, was to place at state, and winning that match. And I think there's a picture of it where I was just like super excited. That was probably one of my favorite matches I've had ever.
Did you is this your first year qualifying for state?
Nope, I had qualified last year, but I only won one match, so I didn't place at all.
Hey, that dude is better than me. It took me like two times to win a match and three times to finally get a medal. So you're definitely ahead of me on that. It's hard to once you get to
Oh
state,
yeah.
man. It's really good that you're going out and you're trying to get this competition that's, really high
Yep.
level. So then when you come back next year, it's like, oh, I've already seen you
Yep.
guys.
That's exactly what my thought
Um,
process was.
well, you that's a good thought process. What's the toughest challenge you faced in wrestling and how did you overcome it?
Toughest challenge, I'd say, would probably be just keeping my mind calm and not like letting emotions get like out of check, like getting super upset about a loss. Like, when you lose that first match of the day and you're put into the losers bracket and you're so upset, but that guy that you're going to go up against is going to be having that same mentality. So you just got to get that out of your head and just be on top of your game and not let that affect you.
Yeah, especially the state
Oh yeah.
tournament. It's really hard not to let that get into you. So you dropped your second match, right?
Yes, I believe it was my second match.
Yeah. Yeah, so you had a couple you had to wrestle back. That's good, man. That shows character for sure. Like a lot of the you see a lot of the you said a lot of who people truly are in those consolation
Right.
rounds as it gets closer and closer and their ability to bounce
Yep.
back. Um, but speaking of it, wrestling is often described as a mental sport as much as a physical one. How do you approach the mental aspect of wrestling and stay focused and confident in high pressure situations? Because one thing I have noticed about you, haven't caught a ton of your matches, but I've caught like a lot of your close matches. You wrestled, till the end. You don't seem to be let yourself be out of it. How do you keep that mental edge on your opponents?
I'd attribute a lot of it to just having training with it all the time, conditioning and practices of going 7, 8 minutes of just straightforward, not letting your body get tired and just knowing that if I can hold out just another minute, I can win this match and I can get even farther into this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, that's all it is. Just holding on for another little
Yeah.
bit. Um, how do you balance your academics and training, and be able to make it in the classroom as well to as performing on the mat?
A lot of it is just planning. I mean, it is a difficult task, but once you have set times and set days to do certain things, it's a lot easier to manage. I'll have these days to practice and train and lift and whatever, and then I'll have these days where I'm just solely focused on like school or work. And it helps to really separate those things.
That's smart. I mean, I tell that to a lot of kids that I coach too. That they think that they need to put in more work, put in
Hmm.
more work, put in more work. It's like, no, you just need to be focused in the time that you're in there,
Exactly.
and then go on, because there's definitely a little bit of a thing called diminishing returns where you start getting worse from it, or you start getting a little bit more
Mhm.
frustrated instead of giving yourself that time.
Exactly.
That's smart, man. That is for sure smart.
Thank you.
Well, you got an eighth grade or an eighth place medal so far. What's the long terms of wrestling career as far as high school and maybe beyond?
For high school next year, I have a goal of placing top three, and then senior year, I hope maybe get that one spot. That'd be real cool. But for right now, if college is pretty far off in my mind, so I'm not too focused on it right now. I'm just really focused on training myself right now and getting ready for the next season.
Yeah. Hey man, why not go for a two-time state champion? You got two more
Exactly.
shots. Dude, you'd be surprised at how much better you can get over a season or over a summer.
Exactly.
So, why not? Why not you? You know what
Yep.
I mean? Well, what advice would you give to younger wrestlers that are just starting out? I know you said that you kind of got some little kids watching you. So, if any little kids are listening to you right now, what would you tell them? If they're maybe struggling in the first or second year, what would your advice to be to them?
Seen a lot of, especially freshmen this year, new to wrestling, try and cut a bunch of weight and lose a lot of that strength and clarity on wrestling, just trying to get to that lower weight class. Just don't focus on that. Focus on those basics. Focus on the skills that you have to like be mastered on. Like, what's your shot? Like, what's your takedown? What's your first move on bottom? What's your first move on top? You got to focus those things and have those things down.
Yeah, that's incredible points, man. Especially the cutting weight thing. I got my oldest is just getting into it. He's in
Hmm.
sixth grade, and like he's all concerned with like where he
Yep.
weighs and everything. I'm just concerned with you learning how to do things the
Exactly.
right way, and then once it gets to that point, we'll learn where your strength lies as far as
Hmm.
weight class. But there's just too much stress put on weight
Exactly.
class.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, what's next for you in your wrestling journey this summer? What do you got on deck to continue to
For
improve?
right now, just like I was saying before, just lifting and conditioning as much as I can, and getting some of that practice in. And then for later this summer, Deep South, and then Super 32 qualifiers.
Yeah, man, dude, paces, you guys are grinding. You guys have really come out in the last like couple of years, so you definitely have a good little program to lead as a junior and senior, and then to help influence beyond. Can you speak to the culture that is in pace wrestling right now, both in the high school and the
Yeah, I
club?
definitely can. It's a very grinding nature. You can't. There's not really a whole lot of room for stopping and just taking a break. You just keep going. You don't stop.
Yeah, man. Dude, you got some good coaches over
Yes,
there
sir.
for sure. They got really really passionate and really passionate both about wrestling and about the kids is something that I've really noticed that their passion definitely doesn't stop once you guys get off the mat. They always seem to be very much there
Oh
for
yeah,
you. Yeah, man. Well, dude, I am not gonna take up too much more of your time,
appreciate
man. I know that you are a busy cat with wrestling, school, and working, and going out there winning some national
it.
tournaments and
Yes, sir.
everything. Yeah, man. Hey, dude, I hope to see you pop over to Niceville Wrestling Academy to hit us a open mat sometime. Me and you
All
can
right,
go
I'll
at
see you
it.
there then.
Yeah, brother, man. All right, man. So do you have anybody that you want to shout out before we pop off? You got any parting
Oh
words
yeah,
for
definitely.
us?
Thank you to my coaches, for this year and helping me get even better than I was last year. And especially thank you to my dad. He's been huge supporter, especially from in the stands this year and last year. I know it's been rough for him, but the state he had been able to come out and help coach, so I know that was huge for him and it was huge for me too. But that's all I've got.
Yeah, man. Well, dude, like I said, I appreciate you being on. I hope to get to roll around with you this summer and watch you continue to grow this summer and into next
Of
year.
course, can't wait.